Welcome to this day's edition of Special Prosecutor with Larry Klayman podcast. Very sad news yesterday that Rush Limbaugh has lung cancer. I can understand what that means. My father died of that at nearly age 90. Rush is still a young man. He's only about 61 or 60, in his 60s or anything to that effect. I don't know exactly his age. But this will leave a great void in terms of the conservative voice. There's no question that Rush Limbaugh was the most intelligent, most articulate person out there advocating for American and conservative causes. And we're not talking about Republican causes. We're talking about conservative causes. The people who are left behind do not fill the void of Rush Limbaugh. In fact, they were his proteges, but they could never quite rise to his level. And that's what emphasizes that what we're doing right now at Radio America with Special Prosecutor with Larry Klayman, the education that we're trying to provide to the American people, we hope to play our small role in filling the void of Rush Limbaugh. Of course, we hope that he'll live a lot longer, but it's probably not likely at this point. This is something which we need to really understand because we need the education. We need to coalesce the people. We need to rally them in another American revolution peacefully and legally because we have a complete breakdown in our government. We have a breakdown, obviously, in the executive branch, a deep state that wants to stab the president in the back. And now that he's nearly free of impeachment, and that's going to happen on Wednesday when the so-called conviction trial will come to an end. Now that he is able to move, quote, forward, those very evil forces are out there, and they could do almost anything to try to stop this president, to try to harm this president. And then, of course, we have the legislative, so-called legislative branch of government, which, frankly, is a bunch of clowns. They're people who are out there for themselves. They're scratching themselves on the back, stuffing money into their pockets. They don't represent the American people. They represent their own special interests. And then there's the judges, the federal judges, who are supposed to protect us. They are our safeguard against the tyranny of the other branches of government and the tyranny of ourselves. But they are chosen on the basis of political patronage, generally speaking, contributions by large special interests, whether it's large law firms or labor unions or corporations. And I don't care whether they were chosen by a Republican or a Democratic president, nominated that is, they wear their politics on their sleeve. And they have not been a check to the tyranny of the other two branches of government, which is why these days I'm filing as many cases that I can in my native state of Florida where state judges are at least accountable to the people and where they allow cases to go forward. Don't cut it off based upon their own personal prejudices and biases. So what does the American people do when the entire three branches of government have broken down and worse than that are working against their interests with a deep state that surveils us like Big Brother, knows where we are at every moment? The deep state and the intelligence agencies and the FBI, they got their technology from Google, from YouTube, from Facebook, from Apple, from others. It is a conspiracy, particularly of the left. Yes, there are conspiracies. People can call me a conspiracy theorist, but conspiracies happen, as they say. You know what else happens? And what do we do to try to bring about change in a way that is consistent with the vision of our founding fathers? What do we do to fight racism, which is we're seeing as much racism from minority side of things as from the majority side of things? People are coming apart at the seams and fighting with each other. What do we do with regard to our open borders? What do we do with regard to the threats in Iran and North Korea? We have to prop this president up because when he goes down, if he goes down, and it's not over, believe me, don't think that the fact that there won't be a conviction in the Senate means that it's over. It is just starting. And we have on the horizon not just the 2020 presidential election. That's the least of it. We have these very evil forces who in the past have harmed presidents, have harmed people that they don't agree with. And that is my clarion call, because I pray that that will not happen. But it could happen. And that is why we, the American people, need to come together. And that's why this podcast and the radio show that's every week at Special Prosecutor with Larry Klayman, you can get it at freedomwatchusa.org, radioamerica.com. It's on Spotify. It's on iTunes. It's on Patreon. You need to spread it to everybody. And we need to fill the void that's going to be left by Rush Limbaugh, the greatest commentator of our time. And we need to pray for Rush because he is worlds above anyone else out there and able to communicate and able to reach people. But we're going to need to fill that void, and we need your support. So I want you to go to freedomwatchusa.org, contribute to our cause with tax-deductible contributions. We are ramping up our educational aspect. We are ramping up, our radio communication, our podcast communication, our YouTube communication. We need to all pull together because in this age where so much is at stake and where the country is sliding down the tubes, if you just look at the Democrat candidates, they're not socialists. Many of them are actually communists. Many of them are actually radicals on the left that want to destroy this country. There's no doubt about it. They're Bolsheviks. And we need to fight back. And we need to rally the people together to fight them because they know no bounds. They have no limits in terms of what they will do. And that is why we need a Second Amendment to defend ourselves. That's why we need prayer. We need God's grace. And I need you at Freedom Watch. So go to freedomwatchusa.org, contribute to our cause, listen to this podcast at radioamerica.com, also on our website, Spotify, iTunes, Patreon. Support the Cliven Bundy Legal Defense Fund, clivenlegaldefensefund.org, CorseyLegalDefenseFund.com, ClaimantLegalDefenseFund.org and .com rather, and support what we're doing right now because there are evil forces out there. District of Columbia Bar is just one of them. It's trying to eliminate conservative lawyers. We need to have everybody out there to fight and to be vigilant, just like our founding fathers were in 1776 and beyond. Thank you for listening to me. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. And God save America. And I'll be back tomorrow with another podcast giving you the clarion call as to our second American peaceful and legal revolution.